Augusta, Georgia. Well, folks, I debated whether I was going to do this, but here I am. The last time I did a video of this nature was when I lived in Hong Kong. That video netted over 100,000 views, and most people that saw it agreed and liked it. I'm talking about Augusta, Georgia. Moved here in 2019 from good old Colorado. And I realized that when people listen to this, there's going to be people that are angry, people that'll hate me, people that make fun of me and say all kinds of things. That's fine. When you put yourself out there, when you stand up and speak truth, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. That's not the reason for doing this. The reason for doing this video is because it's long overdue. I haven't done a video, to my recollection, talking so much about a town or a city in the US. I've mentioned stuff throughout my videos, but what brought me here? A friend of mine. We both worked at Denver Public Schools as bus drivers. She retired. She moved back here. This was her childhood town. She told me how cheap the houses were, and that's all it took. That's literally all it took. That I could afford a home without a mortgage. And boy, did I find a home without a mortgage. And boy, was it a mess. I'm still in the process of nearly 3 years of remodel. By myself. Without help. I hired a roofer and hired somebody to put in windows, but all the rest inside, framing, sheetrock, everything I'm doing myself. Augusta is about 197,000 population, comparable in size to Spokane, Washington. The two places share some similar things, believe it or not. Not an ethnic breakdown, but as far as being towns where neither one of them are trying to soar to greater heights. I lived in Spokane. Spokane was much safer than Augusta. And a lot of what I'm going to get into in this video applies to just about any city in America. I'm going to complain about some things. In fact, I'm going to complain about a lot of things. But Augusta's a great place to buy an affordable home. Augusta's a great place where you can make it. Augusta's a green city. Lots of trees. I like that. Savannah River runs through it. Downtown is cool. A lot of the old downtown stuff, businesses came and went over the years, but downtown still has some charm and some aspects to it. I live in South Augusta. South Augusta is kind of looked at as the horse's arse, so to speak. Lots of crime down here, a lot of ghetto. And when I say ghetto, let me define that so that people don't misunderstand me. Ghetto is ignorant mentality. Don't care about anybody, don't care about people's rights, don't care about pride of ownership, pride at work. South Augusta is dominated by a lot of people that don't care. Ethnic breakdown of Augusta. The numbers vary all over the place. But in Augusta, the majority percentile leads in favor of African Americans. And I live in the side of Augusta that's mostly African Americans. My workplace is mostly African Americans. I work with students and I see the students firsthand. And you learn things by working with the students. And I want to be talking about things. I wanted to refrain from using the color word, but it has to be brought up because I'm going to mention white and black. I'm going to be talking about people. And I'm going to be prefacing some things. And I'm not even going to answer the question because people say, oh, are you a racist? People that know me know that I'm not. People who will listen to this and get their toes stepped on, they'll use that because it's a convenient way to avoid listening to the heart of what I'm saying. That word racism is thrown around way, 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 way too much today. And me, I'm sick of it. I make my own conclusions wherever I live. I didn't grow up in a racist environment. I grew up treating each person as an individual. I wrote myself notes, and I wanted to give my caveat, my disclaimer. Not all people in Augusta are guilty of these things. Not all the people in Augusta are crapheads. Not all the people in Augusta are bad, terrible, awful people. There's some good people here. Okay? Some of these problems I'm going to discuss, they exist in every city. However, in Augusta, some of these problems seem more concentrated. That extra strength dose. But I'm picking on Augusta today. It's time. Before I moved here, I heard a lot of people talk to me about Southern hospitality. And I really welcome that because it seems that there's a mood in the nation that's been going on for quite a while now where people are rude and self-centered and narcissistic. And I'm talking you through the form of social media. Social media has taken people, kids, teen girls, teen boys, especially teen girls, TikTok, Instagram, all the other sites, and given them a pedestal where they can build themselves a temple unto themselves. Look at me, listen to me, I'm beautiful, I'm cool. Honey, stand in line. There's a dime a million of you. They're all over the place. They're everywhere out here. And every one of them thinks they're a star. My personal opinion, meh. Nope. I've been on social media for many years and I try to use this as a platform to talk. I like to rap. Rap meaning conversate. I like to talk about issues. I like to get people to think and to challenge people. And before anybody says a word, I've been challenged my whole life. Grew up in an abusive family. I have personally experienced discrimination, racism, abuse, and lots of things. And I'm not going to get into that in this video. And before there are people that say, oh, well, you don't understand. You haven't lived here in Augusta. Oh, I do. I grew up in Los Angeles, lived in the big city, lived in a small mountain town, graduated in Arizona, ran a troubled respite home in Akron, Ohio. I had students in my home, 17-year-old that kept repeatedly raping his 3-year-old sister. I had black and white children in my home, the shelter home that I ran. I was married back in the day and I divorced many years ago. I've worked with youth. And some of the things that I'm going to say about people that live in Augusta are going to be scathing. I'm not going to apologize for it. And the reason I won't apologize is I can be walking down the street. I can go into a store here. I could be minding my own business. And a group of black teen girls will see me walk by when my hair was real long and no filter, make fun. But if I, as a white guy, was to walk down the street and make some rude comment to a black person, we all know what the outcome of that would be. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get an earful. Somebody want to fight. So I'm going to be talking about some things here. Augusta's a town with some tension. So bear with me. Put on your big boy pants, put on your big girl pants, because Pacific, long ago, had to learn to confront his fears. And people say, why would you put yourself out there? Why would I not? What do I have to lose? Well, somebody could shoot you. We're going to talk about Augusta drivers. I'm more concerned about a bad driver in Augusta hitting my truck and flipping me end over end and killing me than somebody putting a gun to my face. That's the actual raw reality in this country. I love the lame arguments for the reason we need to have gun control. The bad guys will always get the weapons. Make no mistake about that. They're not going down to ye local gun dealer and registering a gun. They get it from their friend. They get it on the down low. The only ones that register the guns are the same ones that believe in doing things the right way, because, yeah, they're not going to get their gun and go out and shoot somebody, generally speaking. But in America, you're in greater danger by a bad, self-centered, rude, lawless driver than you are with some gunman running wild. If you don't believe me, check out the statistics. But crime has been escalating in the last 3 years nationwide. It's been really escalating here in Augusta and across the good old river and bridge, South Carolina. We're going to talk about South Carolina drivers. They're a special kind of bad. I cannot believe what I see when I go down Sandbar Ferry by Hornsby Elementary and Middle School, and there's a school speed limit flashing sign, and South Carolina just goes when I'm driving a school bus. They haul around me like there's no tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the police. My general rule is I support the police. Okay? There are cops that are jerks. There are cops that don't do their job well. There are corrupt cops. There are cops with a chip on their shoulder. But all in all, I support law enforcement. But when I'm driving a school bus and I pull into Walton Oaks and I got my red lights on and kids are getting off the bus and 2 cop cars with their sirens going, being fair, go around my bus through the stop sign and go in there, it's a good thing I've got my kids trained not to cross in that circle down there. Or when I'm in the McDuffie neighborhood and I pull up, stop, high school girl gets off the bus, and a Richmond County sheriff turns left. He's got a full view of the bus. There's no sun shining, blocking my lights. White cop goes through my stop sign. I honk the horn, no brake, nothing. I called it in. Didn't get any response from Richmond County. I went back to my supervisor. Can the cops run my stop sign because they have their lights and siren? No. Did you get the car numbers? I said I didn't. So 3 Richmond County sheriffs have run my school bus stop sign. We're going to talk about the police. We're going to talk about neighborhood stupidity. When I bought my home, I realized I wasn't moving into gated community, and I don't do gated communities. They're not my thing. The first thing to greet me in this otherwise quiet neighborhood, my street is a cut through. It's a cut through to shopping area and stuff. So a lot of traffic comes through here. That's not even the issue for me. But when you have somebody who was released from prison living in a car, and Augusta seems to enjoy buying, and you can fill in the blanks, POS cars, garbage, junk, multicolored fenders and body panels that they got at pull apart, tires that are this high, this wide, and they've gutted the exhaust system to sound like fart cars. the Suzuki on steroids. And every time they come and go, they got to make all this unnecessary noise, tear up and down a street that's all of 3 blocks long. And then if that isn't enough, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're sound asleep. Tearing down the street. Your mother effing Nigger, mama caught you back. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be called a racist for this. Watch this. A message to the community of people that like to listen to that music. Do you know what a residential neighborhood is? Look up the word residential. Do a study on that. I got an older black gentleman next to me. He doesn't like that. I had a young couple, black, with their black girls. They don't like that. This went on and on and on. I had to call the police. He goes to neighbor B, that white boy calling on me. My friend, neighbor next door, when he was living there, told me, I said to him, says, I'm about to call on you, man. You tear up and down the street. You drive dangerous. You make all that noise with your music in your car. You're waking up my wife and I. I don't got nothing against the white guy. He and I are good. He's respectful. You need to respect. You're not just bothering him. You're bothering everybody up and down this block. That went on for months and months and months and months and months. Called the Richmond County Sheriff. Well, we don't do anything until it's after 11 or 11:30 or whatever. Who goes to bed at 11 o'clock at night when they got to get up at 4 in the morning to do their job? Now, not everybody works those early shifts, but I started having problems. That this went on, and it wasn't enough for him. All the Crown Vics and the other cars show up, pull up in front of the house, open all the doors, the trunk and the hood. The license plate frame is rattling. My house is shaking. And this is a message to all Americans that do this crap. Why do you think it's okay to come into a residential neighborhood and turn that full tilt and shake everything? Because I promise you, if you were in a deep sleep and I was to walk in your room and take a galvanized metal trash can and hold it 4 inches from your head and take a small sledge hammer and go wham, you're going to kick my butt. Because that's what it feels like. The level of disrespect among young people in this country is deteriorating by the day. But Augusta, out of all the places that I've driven a school bus for, Denver, Spokane, Duluth, Minnesota, small town in northern Washington, northeastern Washington, a small town up in northern Minnesota, 70 miles from Duluth. The kids down here have no fear of consequences. Pull up at the bus stop, high school kids smoking dope. They get on the bus smelling like pot. The weed culture down here is thick, 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 and strong. It's not legal. It is not legal as far as I know. And it's especially not legal for minors. Tell the kids, do not get on my bus smelling like that. At least use the blunt spray. And they don't. Why do so many people run school bus stop signs down here with children getting off? Go right through it. I honk at them. They sail right on through and look at me. Let somebody hit their kid and they're ready to sue. They're ready to prosecute. Augusta is some of the worst drivers I've seen. I thought when I moved to the South, dumb me, I thought the South was more laid back, more slowed down. I grew up in California. I lived in Hong Kong. In fact, in Hong Kong, if you don't get out of the way, you get run over. On the streets, walking. Asian people move. And I love the energy there. In Augusta, laid back? No. No. Same people that'll walk down the middle of an aisle of the store, not conscientious about other people trying to get around them, will get in their car and they're up your butt and tailgating you and driving like a banshee, like they're headed to a fire. Most Augustans do not use a simple lever called a turn signal. You're sitting there waiting to come out a street, you got a stop sign. Here comes a car speeding up, and then they turn. And when I see that, I just go like that, and they look at me. I know you can't get it. If you gave me a signal, I could have gone. Or they stop in front of you without one, or they move in your lane without one. The speeding. Does anybody in Augusta know what a posted speed limit is? Nope. Does anybody in Augusta know what a red light means? A lot don't. They run the lights around here bad. I just wonder what's going to happen if they hit somebody and kill them. Is it going to register that you did wrong? The drivers are very rude out here, very aggressive. The car stereo crap, the loud, ear-splitting bass. Broad Street, down there, the nightclub. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Augusta women. We're going to talk about a few things. And we're going to talk about Augusta men. You stand down there on Broad Street and you see these geeks come by in their pickup trucks. They paid too much money for, got the lift kit on them, got all the parking lot lights underneath the truck. Now, forgive me for this. I don't understand why you're going to light up your fender well and light up the road under your pickup. It doesn't make sense to me. But I grew up in California. We had chop shops. We had La Troca. We had cool custom lowered trucks, classic trucks. This stuff out here, it fits everything I heard about the South. Redneck. And what kills me is these guys are spooky. Let's go up and down Broad Street. Lots of nightclub traffic, restaurants, eateries, people walking. Let's go full tilt. The diesel or gas engine pickups, cars. Ah! Slam on the brakes at the next red light. Light turns green. What? To the second red light. And they do this all night long. And I just stand there and go, are these people retarded? Obviously. You're going to drive at a high rate of speed, make an excessive display of speed, making all that noise for people on the sidewalk. And most of the people on the sidewalk are just like, gosh, man, it's annoying. And this young generation of let's blow $3, $4, $5 a gallon right out our exhaust pipe, wasting fuel and driving back and forth, thinking that you're impressing everybody, and no one is standing on the sidewalk going, oh my God, I wish I could be like that. I wish I knew how to push an accelerator pedal and show off in a truck that I didn't build. I like to say this because sometimes people need to have context, but Augusta's got a lot of that. I mean, too much. Is your ego that screwed up? Are you that dysfunctional that you can only get mileage, no pun intended, on your excessive display and speed back and forth on Broad? You're the only one that thinks you're cool. Nobody else does, except people like you that don't have a life. Are you working on a house? Are you working on a degree? Are you doing something for the youth down here? Are you making a difference? Or are you just so full of your insecure self that You got to compensate by all the racket and all the noise, and you're shouting that you need and want attention, and you're a grown man. Crown Victorias on steroidal rims. Not my thing. I have yet to see a Crown Vic with the big 3-foot rims and the loud bass and all the flashy colors observe any of the traffic laws. They're some of the worst. They go through my stop sign when I was driving the bus. You honk at them, they don't care. Southern hospitality? Going to Walmart on Deansbridge. There's a nice African-American lady there that greets me. She's awesome. There's a couple ladies there that are very nice. But let me make something very, very, very clear. The customer service, the stalkers that put stuff away, there's a lot of them that don't belong in a public people position. I'm a nice guy. I've always been nice. My customer service skills are right up at the top. You go in and ask somebody, and I could spend hours on a video just in the 3 years I've been here. And you ask somebody where something is, and you get an attitude, or you say good morning to somebody and they ignore you. And it happened again today. A black woman walking towards me. She said something. I said, good morning. Ignored me. And then she's talking on her Bluetooth on the phone. I walked up to an older black woman. She was kneeling down, looked up at me. I said, how are you doing? Turns around, ignores me. And I get this. I went in there one day with a white woman, young, headset on. Said, excuse me, I'm trying to find something. Can you tell me where it is? I can't understand her speech. She's not talking clearly, and she was very rude. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying. Oh, it's over there at the other end of the store. Okay, where? Rude. I go into Walmart and Bobby Jones this week. I'm walking in the toy aisle and looking at Hot Wheels. I'm on the phone with my friend, and a white redhead lady comes up that aisle and starts. There was some, like a packaged toy item. I don't know what it was. Those plastic things sitting in the aisle. First she reached down, picked it up. Then she throws it. Started sighing and grunting, threw the other one, kicked them all over the place, and had a complete meltdown in front of me. I mean, we're living in a different world today, because when I grew up, you did not do that in the workplace. You didn't do that as a customer in front of other people. And I just stood there going, oh boy, I didn't say a word. I told my friend, I said, look, I got to go. I got to ring up. And I almost said, somebody's having a meltdown. An employee. Obviously, she was mad the toys were on the floor, but you get paid by the hour, man. Pick them up, put them away, work your time and go home. I mean, it's not your fault. What are you getting so mad about? And then you're kicking them across the store and throwing them around. You're going to put them back on the shelf. And some kid's going to get it home, take it out of there, and it's going to be defective. Really? Seriously. The drug culture here is off the chain. It doesn't matter where I go in Augusta, you smell weed everywhere. I'm going to be honest. I'm an anti-drug person. I don't support it. And the idea that people who smoke pot are harmless and this and that, that's not true. They're rude. They're up in your face. They're not nice. Why do these grown men buy these little crappy cars and gut the exhaust or do whatever they do to make ear-splitting noises? When I was growing up, 60s and 70s, yeah, the muscle cars, and they sounded good. They put the dual exhaust and the glass packs on them, and whoa, whoa, whoa. This stuff is just obnoxious. It's just noise. It's just, again. And then I read online that the drug dealers typically have the loudest cars so that the neighborhood knows when they're coming. You would think if you're going to do something illegal, such as drug dealing, you're going to kind of come in there under the radar, but no. Crime culture here is high. Black on black violence, very high. And I was made aware in the last 2 weeks of a lady I know, and lives in an apartment complex, has 47, 48 cameras. And a black guy was seen trying to get into windows and slinking around. Got in through her window with her 3 kids at home. Rapes her. The older daughter called the police. DNA left all over the place. Camera sees evidence of this guy going in. He had been accused of raping 3 other women and got off of all those. This went to trial. Every time she got up to testify, this guy with no conscience sits there laughing. He got 2 life sentences plus 20 years. Why is there all this crime here? Well, I learned some things while working and living here. I don't know what the percentages are, but a very larger than normal percentage of kids in this area, specifically black children, are growing up with mom. Not dad, but mom. And you have a alpha male dynamic with a lot of the black males that they feel that they're a stallion if they go out and poonge all these women, code word for sex them. And as soon as they get pregnant, fly, Robin, fly. They're out the door. And that's very interesting. Then they'll get in their Crown Vic or their hoopty, turn the music full blast, and give everybody the dirty look out there. Or size me up. Me, a guy who's harmless, who means no guile, no threat. I hate to tell you this, guys, that's not the definition of manhood. And these kids grow up oftentimes with mothers that don't have any more maturity skills than the kids do. And there are some black mothers out there that are doing a damn good job with the lemons they've been dealt with. They're mothers that back us up when we have to deal with their students acting up on a bus. But these boys aren't growing up with a lot of role models around here. People don't aim high here. South Augusta. South Augusta, where's all the stores? I have a question. Black people told me they moved them out because they don't want them in the black neighborhoods because they claim blacks always steal. And I said, if people are going to steal, they're going to do it on the other side of town just as much as they do it on this side of town. There's not a grocery store in the bottom. To go to Walmart on Deansbridge, it's miles from the bottom. The Regency Mall that back in its day was supposedly nice. I watched a video on it when it was alive and well. Now it's a big eyesore. The people that owned it vacated it and left it there to rot. And you see this all around South Augusta. Houses with a patch over the roof, a big tarp. Weeds overgrown 3-4 feet high with vines entangled up around the house. The porch is caught falling in, the roof's falling in. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that this existed in America. I grew up out west. You didn't see that out there. The city doesn't allow it. Code enforcement doesn't allow it. They really allow a lot of stuff here. And why am I getting charged $85 for a streetlight charge on my property taxes? That's crazy. That's crazy. The this is not all Augusta, what I'm about to say. This is a nationwide problem, and it's around the globe as well. But I was just made aware the other day that the kids in this county, there's the deep throat challenge, where guy sticks his ding dong in a girl's mouth, oral, and she sees how long she can keep it in there and get it down her throat before she gags. Filming it. This is what the teens are into. Last year, the teens were into let's go into the bathroom and bust toilets and toilet stalls, or slap a teacher on the butt, or do stuff like that. The level that these kids today will go to get attention. They're not aspiring academically. They're not inventing things to make life better for everybody. They're doing crazy stuff. I don't like TikTok. I don't like the obsession the young has with TikTok. They can't mow the yard. They can't put groceries away. They can't cook dinner. They can't sweep, vacuum, clean a toilet. But they'll sit there and do all these TikTok dumb dancing videos. And everybody's a star. The obsession with this, and I see it here so much too, so I mention it. Let's talk about the women of Augusta. I haven't dated anybody since I left Denver. My last date was a African-American woman in Colorado that I happened to work with. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I moved here. I haven't dated anybody since. I've had an interest in various black and or white girls over the course of time, and those interests fizzled. Caucasian women in Augusta leave a lot to be desired. This is my opinion before anybody gets angry at me. When I'm at the nightclub and I shoot pool and I dance and I don't drink, I'm amazed at how many girls walk by and give me a dirty look. I'm different. People think he must be gay. I wear my shirt off the shoulder. I just do that. I do things to watch how people react. Nothing harmful, nothing malicious. I just be myself. White girls will come into a bar. They'll come in with their man. Man sits there drinking. She gets up and starts dancing. And so many of them act like they're all that on a bag of chips. And then they're dry humping their lady friend's leg and being silly. I have found in Augusta, Georgia, that African-American women are kinder to me, more accepting of me, will come up and dance with me, will come up and talk with me, will come up and hug me in the nightclub and at work. And I find them more of a joy to be around. I need to be careful what I say because many people are going to have a problem with this, but I really surprised at how much obesity exists down there. It's a, no pun intended, a big percentage of people are very overweight, badly out of shape, knee problems, hip problems, heart problems, foot problems. And I'm just like, wow. Most of the white young generation of ladies is conceited, stuck up out here. I thought moving to the South that Caucasian women would be more Southern hospitality. No. Again, when I go to the venue that I go to dance and play pool, and there's a lot of black gals that are very kind to me. We have nice conversations. We can dance, shoot the breeze, shoot pool. I'm a white guy saying this. A lot of white guys are into white chicks. I am biracial. I've dated mostly Asian and black in the last few years of my life. I've dated white in the past. But the Caucasian women here don't give me anything to get all excited about. A lot of them are drugged out. A lot of them have scads of children. A lot of them think they're all that in a bag of rocks. And it's just like, I'm not impressed. Boring clothing, doing the weird stuff that they do to their piercings and everything else. And I find that black women are more down to earth, kinder. Again, I haven't dated anybody. Home improvement in Augusta. I bought this house. The lady I work with happened to be friends with the lady who lived in this house. My friend walked through. I showed her what I've done so far. She goes, wow, you've really changed it. She goes, this house was gross when I used to come in here. She cockroaches, filth everywhere. I said, I know. Inside walls. That much of the stud from the 2x4 on the cement slab eaten up by rats. Evidence of rats. I had to reframe stuff. Had to tear out drywall and paneling because there were holes gnawed in them where the critters had gotten in between the walls. The smells in here were terrible. They don't stink no more. Scraping up old nasty tiles, stained and filthy. Sanding the top upper cupboards, sanding all the black skin oil all over. And when I say black, I'm talking skin oil, dirty skin oil, plus the black lacquer or whatever that was over it, sanding it down to reveal the wood underneath. And the amount of cleaning and bleaching I did in here as I began to rip out. And I have torn every wall of virtually every room out in this house and redone it. Not all framing, but paneling, getting behind it, see if it had insulation. If it didn't, adding some. This was something else. And I see so many people that I meet, women. And when I was growing up, women were very, very clean. My mother, you did not track mud in the house. You didn't drop your clothes in the living room. You didn't leave a trail. You picked up and you did it or else. And you go into these people's homes and cars around here, and my mind starts going, how in the world do they deal with this? I had other men come up to me and said, can you imagine being married to some of these gals that are like that? And I said, no, 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 no. This video is just my perspective. Okay. Don't get so angry that you can't see straight. This is my opinion. City mayor, rumors of corruption. When I had problems in the neighborhood, I tried to call our, can't remember what they call it, the district commissioner. We used to call him city council. He had texted me, can I call you back? Yes. I left a detailed message. A week went by, no call. I called, no answer. Is there a factor in Augusta of where you have blacks that don't like whites? Absolutely. 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 Is there a factor that a councilman doesn't want to get back to me because I'm white? Perhaps. But I called the mayor trying to say, could you please call me? This is what's going on. Wondering what we can do. No attempt to call. A city employee told me, and this is one thing that Augusta has going for it, is the Masters. That big fancy golf tournament annually. It's a big deal. A lot of money comes in here. A city official told me, I'm not going to tell you what capacity, because I'm not going to get this individual in trouble, that the Masters pays the commissioners, gives them little perks and stuff. And the Masters has made it clear they don't want development going on that will compete with or interfere with the Masters. That's why we can't get an amusement park. That's why we can't get a water park. We had a water park. And I told this gentleman, I said, so even if you build on the other end of town away from the Masters, he goes, the problem is they don't want it at all. That leads me to segue into my next thing. There is nothing for the kids here to do except to get into trouble and drive their parents nuts. The YMCA has good programs. The Boys and Girls Club in Augusta is awesome. They're good, reputable organizations that try to take care of the kids and give them something to do. But we don't have anything for kids. We don't have skate parks. Have you looked at our rec centers with the dirty, filthy water in the pools and nobody's swimming in them? We got a nice park, Pendleton King Park. I love walking in the park. But there's nothing for the kids to do. There's not a lot of kid-friendly places right in Augusta, right in South Augusta. Where are the guys that have the money to buy land and businesses? Why aren't they investing in South Augusta? I want to know the answer to that, because money is money, no matter who it comes from. And if I had the money, because I live here, I'm going to invest here. Because as far as I see it, a lot of the black folk, they got to, just like me, got to go all the way to the other side to get stuff. And they put everything on Washington Road, everything, all the way out there. Congestion central, bumper to bumper traffic most of the time of day. I have never lived in a city where you got to drive so far to get your run-of-the-mill needs. There's no Ace Hardware over here. All we have is Dollar Tree, Dollar Tree, Dollar Tree, and Dollar General. What is there for teens to do? Not much. When I moved in here, my realtor said, you better get a gun in the security system. When I've talked to police when we had a problem with a neighbor, and that has since evaporated, they asked the question, why'd you move in here? This is not a good neighborhood. And I'm a respectful man. I'm not going to run my mouth to anybody in authority because that can get you in trouble. I still have fear. And I wanted to say, why don't you guys get off your butts and do something to make it a better neighborhood? Because if you make it a better neighborhood, families want to move in and taxes go up, and it generates a good overall economy. I had a Richmond County cop come to my door. I had been anonymous when I called in. Did not get my address. The guy that was across the street knew it was me calling because let me say something very clearly here. I don't believe in snitching, but when I'm paying taxes and I'm trying to have peace in my home, I don't want to hear your BS. That's a right that every one of us should have as homeowners. And this white cop came, this was during 2020, and he had the mask on. I had made a call. I got a knock at the door. I'm doing a project in the kitchen with home remodel. I see him. I said, why don't you come on? Oh, no. He talks out loud, yelling. I mean, offensive. yelling loud enough that the guy calling across the street can hear. Why did I call? Because all throughout the day and night, for hours at a time, the deafening boom boom of rap and bass. Augusta people, I'm not from here. I don't think like you. Don't hate me. That's part of diversity. I'm diversity as well. I think for myself. I model what I believe. I have an older black man here. I like my music loud. You think I'm going to open my windows where it's blowing into his house? No, because I like and respect him. That's why. He told me a couple weeks ago, he said, "You need help putting a gate up. I'll help you do it." And I said, "Well, I'll pay you." "No, you don't have to. I'll do it." He says, "I like you, Mike. I like you." I said, "You know what? Thank you. But I would never take advantage of you that way. If I use you, I'm going to pay you." That's the kind of neighbors you want. The reason nobody else calls is because they're afraid. They're afraid. And why did the officer come up into my yard and knock on my door when I said I'm anonymous and I did not get my address? I mean, I said this problem is right across the street from me and gave the address. That cop was not within his right to come to my door and chew me out like I was the bad guy. And this is what he said to me. Exact words. "People can make all the noise they want until the curfew time." I said, "Even if it's shaking the inside of even if it's shaking," I said, that isn't right. I said, because the state of Georgia has something about decibel limits. And I said, I believe the county does too. That was the first time in my life I wanted to say, "Get off of my property and get out of my yard, or I'm going to call your boss." I was anonymous. You had no right to come up here. I'm not the one doing anything wrong. If you feel that it's not part of your job to deal with this, then don't deal with it. Don't come in here and talk loud and rude and unprofessional to me. And I'm going to say something about some police. They're crappy. I'm respecting you. But if we can't call you, what do we do? And Augusta needs to enact some sort of an ordinance that in a residential neighborhood, this bass crap shouldn't be allowed. And if you want my personal opinion, it shouldn't even be allowed to be installed in automobiles. When you're driving, that is too much noise. You should be paying attention to safe driving. And most of the people listening to that kind of music are not what I call safe, conscientious, lawful, polite, courteous drivers. And am I making a statement? Absolutely. I've lived 57 years of my life. And you want to know what? I can tell by who you are, by what you're listening to. I can tell by how you're driving your car what you're listening to. Playing music that loud is telling me everything I need to know about you. You don't give a shit about anybody else's feelings. You don't care about other people's rights to peace and quiet in their homes. You got older black people, not just me, that don't want to hear that. They're not going to call. They're at that age where they're scared. They don't want to rock no boats and get danger on themselves. I finally had to get an officer that used to work for them. She's now in a higher position in the city. She said, "What he said to you was not right." She said, "Yes, there's a curfew, but you being blasted out of your home isn't right." She said, let me call somebody who's over that and see if I can get something done. And guess what? She got something done more than all the calls before did. And the problem went away. He still comes back, but he's not living over there, and he'll tear down the street, but he's out of here. It's funny how certain people in Augusta look at the word respect. They don't have to respect anybody but who they want, and they can crap on everybody. And when you call them out on it, It doesn't dawn on them that they're out of line. There's a lot of ghetto culture down here. There's a lot of disrespect culture, crime culture. When I talk about this, I want to make a difference for the positive. But yes, to me, Augusta has a dark cloud hanging over it most of the time. I go into these area businesses, and some of them, their customer service is crappy. I don't even buy drinks. I buy a club soda, and I'm treated kindly by all the bartenders at the nightclub I go to than I am at Walmart. And I spend a lot of money in Walmart. And I spend a lot of money because of the inflation. Deansbridge Walmart, whoever's supposed to be doing the job of updating the prices on the little end on the end cap, the little sticker bar where you insert the price thing. I can't tell you how many times I went in and bought a door set knob. That's in 1999 or whatever for the double set. Go up there, ring it up. It's $50. I'm like, wait a minute. And all I get is some lame, rude woman my age. Well, you need to look at the price. I did. And I looked and it gave the description of this brand, this unit. Well, the next time before you bring it up, you'll need to get somebody. They'll need to readjust that. Actually, you're supposed to give it to me at that price. That's what I understand. I didn't fight it. I just said, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to buy it. Not for $50. The stalkers, carts and product everywhere. You can't get your cart around them. You can't get your cart around the mess that they leave in the way. When you say, excuse me, or you got to go by, they're irritated that you got to come down that aisle. Deansbridge Walmart, you need to get it together. I don't know who's in the management up there, but I'm not going to waste my time calling. You need to get it together. That store is a joke. And I know you have a hard time finding good workers, but you'd better in your meetings start having a talk with this young generation about something called customer service. That when somebody politely asks you where something is, that you stop what you're doing and help them get that answer or locate the item for them or something. I need to say that because that's just crazy ridiculous. You can make it in Augusta. If you're thinking about relocating here and you're going to move into the kind of neighborhood I move into, this is what you're going to deal with. The thing that concerns me about Augusta and the thing that concerns me about America is younger generation that doesn't see things the way I see things. They don't have manners or respect. They're going to stand and inherit these older folks' homes, and they ain't going to make good neighbors. I had to go to court with same place as the guy that was blasting the music and a burned house. In fact, let me be honest, a burned house. By order of the fire marshal, cannot live in house. When I moved in my house, nobody was living over there. Guy shows up living in a car, tearing in and out of there, making noise, bringing people over. Then the owner of the house and a daughter moves into a travel trailer that was pulled in, covered with mold and tarps hanging off of it. 3 barking dogs. The one dog, when I moved in, was jumping out of the kennel, coming into my yard and barking at me. I had to run it off. It was a pit mix. Crapping in my yard, dragging pants and trash and garbage. I called animal control, I don't know how many times. They had complaints on them all the way back to 2018 before I even moved in this place. So others have complained. The two small dogs jumping the fence and one barks nonstop, running the neighborhood, crapping in my yard and crapping in my neighbor's yard. My friend over here said, yeah, they jump the fence and bark. I'm tired of all that. I asked him to talk to her. Well, that white guy called on my son. Were you there when your son was doing this stuff? No. You got a lot of people in Augusta, they think it's okay for them to do and be whatever they want, irregardless of everybody else. But when you're in the neighborhood, you're in a village. I had to take it to court. The judge went soft on him. Even though animal control had multiple complaints, even though animal control was there saying she doesn't have control of her dogs, they had no vaccinations, no. But when I signed the complaint, then they went and got vaccinations and pulled this story. We live in a trailer. We don't even have a gun and we live all alone. We need these dogs. You're not fixing your burnout place because you didn't have insurance. And I'm over here minding my own business and I'm right across from you. And between your son and your dogs, it's been ridiculous for 3 years. Why does the city of Augusta allow that crap to go on? That house caught fire almost 4 years ago. Any other city I live in, and the property taxes weren't paid. They just recently I looked and they're up to date. But I was about ready. If that came up on the tax default list, I was going to go pay the fee and say, I'll pay for it, which means the owners have a year to redeem the property, plus a 20% kickback to me and fees the city. And if they don't, the city deeds it to me. And I don't want it. I've got enough trouble fixing my house. All I'd want to do is buy it so I don't have to worry about bad neighbors anymore. Have the city come in with a backhoe and knock the house down, dump truck it out of there. I'll clean up the yard and make it a nice little, put a bench in there. You can sit in there and read. I wish I had big money. I wish you could find those black women that try to raise their kids right, that try to do what's right, and they can't afford to get a house, but you could help them get a piece of land where that wrecked house is, knock the house down and have Habitat come in and kind of do a city and Habitat for Humanity project to get these mothers in a home, because I believe in home ownership for people. And people say, well, Mike, they've got Habitat for Humanity, they got all this, but they're not being aggressive about it. Supposedly, the city's starting to tear down properties of blight. Go down to Olive Road in Milledgeville. That's a treat. You got an old brick business there. The whole upper wall of that roof, all the bricks have started to fall down into the roof, and they got a yellow police tape around it. City of Augusta is some little kids walk. That tape is high. That ain't going to stop them. If they walk up next to that wall and that wall comes down on them, you're going to have a lawsuit. You'd think the city would be putting a notice, contact the property owner, said, you got to tear that down or fix it or something. That's a danger. If that wall collapses and somebody walks through, there's no fence around the property too. So you can't say, well, they're trespassing. Well, they are, but I'm guilty. When I used to walk before I had a truck and I walked a place, I cut through. If there's a pavement or a dirt lot in front of a business, I'll cut around the corner instead of walking all the way to the end of the corner and then make it a square. Where's the vision in the city of Augusta? Where's there looking at putting the city on the map? What about something for the kids? You tax the hell out of us on certain things here. Where's something for the kids? Something that is monitored and supervised where kids can get out. Why can't we get kids and fit them up with boxing gloves and have a place where there's punching bags and they can, and do stuff? We need something to get them off the addiction of social media, and some of them need to have exposure other than their bad home life. I believe in this city. I believe it could turn it around. But a lot of what's getting voted in is, I'm going to say it, crap. They don't have a vision. They have a vision for their wallet. They have a vision for their own self-importance. I'm not going to run as a mayor because I'm not a politician. But if somebody asked me to step up to the plate and said, we'll give you the help you need to pull it off, I'd say, okay, let's do it. Because the first thing I'd do is sit down with the commissioners and say, we're not playing this game with the masters anymore. We're not playing this game about non-development. And I would make a message clear to the masters. If we decide to put in something, don't worry. We're not going to put it in interfering with the masters. But you're not going to stop growth. Just because you're, the big fat cats and the big spenders doesn't mean that we're going to not going to do anything. And then to find out who owns these dang properties and say, you've got 30 days to tear the house down. You got 30 days to do something. This is coming to an end. And if the city owns it, then the city needs to tear it down. And the city should give those lots at a very reduced rate. One per person. You don't need some slummy person buying up all the parcels. But you find a black woman with children who needs a place of her own, and she could buy the lot for $2,000 and make modest payments and build her a tiny house, something affordable, so that she could be a homeowner. She could raise her kids in a stability environment. Where's the men in this city? Where's the male leadership in this city? Because I don't see it. Augusta's got a lot of good things going for it, but it's got a lot of bad things going for it too. Kids need to have something to do other than tear up and down Broad Street, wasting gas, making noise, and be in danger of running people over. The kids need something to do other than being exposed to marijuana culture all the time and dead end culture. There's some nice kids here. I've met them. I've worked with them. But a lot of these kids are surrounded by a dark majority of bad kids. And that's not good. And I have a right to say this. Every city's got problems. No city's perfect. But Augusta's got a high concentration of it. And that needs to change. Where's the visionaries? Why are people using the city credit card and your salary is more than mine? I'm afraid that too many people these days just want the title of self-importance and wear that suit and tie and look good, and then they use the position for personal gain and not for the good of all Augustan people. That's not right. When you as a mayor cannot call me back and answer me one way or the other, when you as a councilman, commissioner cannot call me back, why do you have that position? Is it because I'm white and I'm not black? I'm just asking that. Because I've gotten that feeling by some people here. I've gotten that feeling when I go to Deansbridge Walmart. I'm not afraid to go in the store. I need to get my stuff. I'm going to go get my stuff. This is Augusta. They built a cool Fifth Street bridge over the Savannah River. They did a nice job with that. They put some fun things on there for the kids to play with. Got a nice view of downtown in the Savannah River. You walk right over to North or South Carolina. But it'd be nice to see the city move in a direction where we could turn things around and be a model for others to follow. Maybe I'm dreaming, I don't know. But that's my take on Augusta, Georgia. This could be a diamond in the rough under the correct men leadership. People that aren't out for themselves, but have a vision for the city for all people. And I want to ask a question about Richmond County sheriffs. I don't have anything personal against you, but I drive for a living. I've taken a break from that at this point in time. I'm still employed, but I'm not driving the bus right now. How come none of your police cars go the speed limit and you're not running lights and sirens? How come most of you don't use turn signals? I'm asking that fairly. Aren't you supposed to uphold the laws you're out there to enforce? Why are the Richmond County sheriffs, the bulk of them, drive just as bad as everybody else? Why is it I'll see somebody do something boneheaded and the cop sit right there and doesn't pull them over? And in fact, I don't see a lot of pullovers for traffic around here, and Richmond County needs to do something about all these red light people. Why does a white officer come to my house and talk loud? I invited him in so we could talk. I know the police are afraid. They don't know if it's an ambush. I get that. But you're going to stand there and yell? And you're going to talk down to me as if though I'm the offender? Can I remind that officer that I was told by them, when you have a problem, feel free to call us anytime. Back to the music. They need to make a law in Richmond County that you're not going to go boom, boom, boom in a residential neighborhood. That needs to be just a given. Take that crap and get it away from everybody else's homes and their right to peace and quiet. I'm so tired of people screaming about their rights. Where's the rights of older Black people that don't want to hear that stuff? Where's my rights in my home? I pay my taxes. I'm not bothering everybody. Why is it that you feel the need to subject everybody to hear music that's singing "Suck My D-I-C-K," using a racial epithet with the N-word in it, and I got to hear that coming into my home? And even with my music on, it just overpowers everything. Why do you think that's okay? And where is the leadership that doesn't say, you know what? We're not going to keep sending the cops out. Okay, we're gonna honor that, but we need to make a rule where this is not allowed. And if the cops do come out and they find the sound system in the car, we're going to find the stuff out of you, and you got to go to court, and it's done. And judges, you're not letting go of this. People got a right to peace and sanity in their homes. And I'm sure that in this wonderful Augusta culture, there's going to be all those folks out there that have all kinds of nasty, hateful things to say. I fully expect that. The problems I'm talking about are proof there's a lot of drag culture here. Where's the leadership? Where's the men that'll do something? I'd like to go over to Hyde Park. I'd love to pull some old woodwork and doors out of those abandoned homes. I haven't. I don't because I'd have to get permission. And I'm sure that the city would tell me I can't go in there and do that. What if I sign off that I'm liable to whatever injury happens to me? But they're not going to let me do that. But then instead of getting them torn down, I could take that some of that stuff and reuse it in my home because building materials are so high. The city needs to do something because they're not doing enough. You also need to look at something like sidewalks in places where there aren't any, like Mike Paget Highway. Oh my gosh, there's people walking out there at dark 30 when I'm going to work. No sidewalk, no shoulder in the lane of traffic. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. But anyways, thanks for listening. This is Pacific signing off.